But I'm Reverend Pam Brandman, the senior minister here at the center, and I'm really glad to see you all here. We've been, whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We know that there are many paths to God, but they all end in oneness and in love. So this morning, we have one of the things that I know is working well, because I've heard her, is our musician. But before we do that, I a couple of things I wanted to say. The slide we have up here, November is the Native American Heritage Month. And so we are recognizing that the land that we're on was inhabited by the tribes before. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact name of the tribe that's here. Washoe tribe is here. And then there's different bands. So we'll get better information for next week. But we're recognizing them and honoring them for sharing the land with us. And next slide, we have our receptivity statement, which I'd like you to read along with me. I am here by divine appointment. Something I'm about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. And now we're ready for our musician, Callie Hansen. And we're not going to enjoy her awesome videos this week, but we get to hear her in person, which is even better. And so live in our sanctuary is Callie Hansen. Please help me welcome her.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. The very first song I am singing today is by Josh Groban, and it's called Thankful. Some days we forget to look around us, and some days we can't see the joy that surrounds us. So caught up inside ourselves, we take when we should give. So for tonight, we pray for what we know can be, and on this day, we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change, and even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for. Look beyond ourselves. There's so much sorrow. It's way too late to say, I'll cry tomorrow. Each of us must find our truth. It's so long overdue. So for tonight we pray for what we know can be, and on this day we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change, and even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for. Even with our differences, there is a place we're all connected. Each of us can find each other's light. So for tonight, We pray for what we know can be, and on this day we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change, and even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for.
Pray for what we can't yet see. We'll be getting into more of that later today. So we have our practitioner this morning is Reverend Rick Carney. And it's been Thanksgiving, so he's been busy. He's been down visiting family in San Rafael with his wife, Marie. And he is an acting chaplain now at a renowned medical center. So this is a time when people that must be in the hospital are really happy to see his smiling face and have a great conversation. So I would like to welcome Reverend Rick to give our special reading and our invocation for this morning.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. The reading today comes from a book, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. Reverend Pam referenced that in the inspirational message you saw in the newsletter. And that reminded me of this particular book because I thought it was something fantastic. And you can, if you were ever in my den and pulled a book off the shelf, you could see I highlight things that I consider important. and then most of this book is highlighted, in particular, that page I just showed you and this reading. And it comes from the chapter on abundance. The source of all abundance is not outside you, it is part of who you are. However, you can start by acknowledging and recognizing the abundance without. See the fullness of life all around you. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the display of magnificent flowers outside a flower shop, biting into a succulent fruit, or getting soaked in an abundance of water falling from the sky. The fullness of life is there at every step. The acknowledgement of that abundance that is all around you awakens the dormant abundance within. Let it flow out. When you smile at a stranger, there is already a minute outflow of energy. You become a giver. And ask yourself often, what can I give here? How can I be of service to this person, to this situation? You don't need to own anything to feel abundant, although if you feel abundant consistently, things will almost certainly come to you. Abundance comes only to those who already have it. It sounds almost unfair to the ear, but of course it isn't. It is a universal law. Both abundance and scarcity are inner states that manifest as your reality. Jesus puts it like this: for to the one who has, more will be given, and from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Eckhart Tolle. So let's take this to prayer. I know there is one God, one Spirit, one source of all that is, and that this one Creator God is in, around all of us, supporting us, uplifting us, providing for us each and every day. There is no limitation whatsoever to the abundance of God gushing forth right here and right now, right here in this place and time. But it doesn't stay with us. It flows through us and flows through us and out to the world, out to the people we meet, to those that we never meet. It is the very premise that we are not the source of all that is, of all the goodness and love and light, but we are the channels through which the divine love flows and the divine light and the divine abundance flows. We get a chance to enjoy it as it flows through us, of course, but it is not ours to keep, not ours to hoard or hold on to. No. We are but the directors of this manifestation out into the world in which we live. And so this moment, this day, this place and time, I commit to putting forth all that flows into me, out into the world, so that it may be multiplied, knowing that it is all good because it's all God, and it is the way that the world works. I give thanks for this. I give thanks for everything that has happened, happening now, and will happen in times to come, knowing it is divinely guided, as together we say. And so it is, so it is. And now I invite Callie to bless us one more time.
This on? The next selection I have is called Gratitude. It's by an artist that I really like. Her name is Nicole Nordeman. And I hope you enjoy it. Send some rain, would you send some rain? 'Cause the earth is dry and needs to drink again. And the sun is high and we are sinking in the shade. Would you send a cloud, thunder long and loud? Let the earth grow black and send some mercy down. Surely you can see that we are thirsty and afraid. But maybe not, may not today. Maybe you'll provide in other ways. And if that's the case, we'll give thanks to you with gratitude for lessons learned and how to thirst for you, how to bless the very sun that warms our face if you never send us rain. Daily bread, give us daily bread, bless our bodies, keep our children fed. Fill our cups and fill them up again tonight. Wrap us up and warm us through, tucked away beneath our sturdy roofs. Let us slumber safe from danger's view this time. But maybe not today. Maybe you'll provide in other ways. And if that's the case, we'll give thanks to you in gratitude, a lesson learned to hunger after you, that a starry sky offers a better view if no roof is overhead, and we never taste that bread. Oh, the differences that are often between everything we want and what we really need. So grant us peace, Jesus, grant us peace. Move our hearts to hear a single beat between alibis and enemies tonight. But maybe not today. Peace might be another world away. And if that's the case, we'll give thanks to you with gratitude for lessons learned and how to trust in you, that we are blessed beyond what we could ever dream, in abundance or in if you never grant us peace. But Jesus, would you please?
Hey. The Thanksgiving, it's obviously a kind of a standard title to have. Gratitude is what we're talking about. But the title that we have today is Gratitude Beyond Gifts, right? And so it's not just the simple act of, most of the time we think we're grateful for the gifts that we receive, for our family, our job and its income, and that whole list of things that Callie had in her song, our health. We're grateful for the beauty that God has created everywhere, right? We just look out the window or look at the face across from us. There's beauty there. And so, but gratitude is more than that. It is the greatest positive factor in the world. It has a lot of power. Now, as Rick was from the reading, he's talking about when we speak our word and what we believe, that is what's manifest. And that how the universe works. And when we shift to that mindset of gratitude, it changes everything, right? So, but today I'm really grateful for that. We had two of our sons came up for Thanksgiving. They brought with them, one's married, his wife, or Elliot's fiance was with us. And, we hadn't seen them for 2 years and they hadn't even seen each other. So when we first started, it was like, we talked on the phone and stuff, but it's a little different when you see each other in person. So it was a little more quiet than these are usually raucous kind of happy conversations. And by the last day we were back there, but this is something that we've all been through together, right? I realized, and also they were as grateful as I was for that beautiful deep blue lake that's out there that we look at every day when we walk by or drive by, and the pine trees that are growing tall around us. I'm grateful that for the delicious meal that we had. Everybody contributed something and helping to cook it. And it was just wonderful. It's better when it's that way, but then also besides the people in the room, there all of the people that made it possible, so there's the farmers that grew the food or the turkeys and what was there. And for the people, the sweet potatoes and the turkey and the cranberry dressing, relish rather. And so the people that processed and transported the food, right? And hopefully not too much. And the grocery stores team of their clerks and the stockers that put things up, the deli workers that prepared some of those things, the rolls, right? And then we've got the generations of cook that shared their favorite recipes, that we got to talk about, what was that spicy flavor in there? Why can't, that kind of thing that we do. And then there's the artistic people that decorated the table, the tablecloths, the beautiful china that we got to use for the holiday, and flowers, and all of these things that make it a festive occasion, right? And then also the members of my extended family over all the years that gives me that expectation that this is going to be a great day, and it is, wherever we are all together. So we got to Facebook together, right? So it's a wonderful feast every year. And Elliot was here. Unfortunately, he spent too much of his vacation working on our AV system. We spent the whole day here on Friday getting it done. And then he had to go back. So he wasn't able to operate it himself. So we had a few bugs that we had to figure out this morning. But it's all there, and it's got all this great potential. So when we learn how to use it, we will be able to have a really great, reliable system. I think my favorite comment, though, the whole weekend was Elliot's comment to me. He said, "Now, Mom, I know why you always had a Patagonia jacket and a Yosemite t-shirt while we were growing up, because you belong here. And you know what? Tahoe really is a beautiful place to live." He got it. He got me. It's like, this is very cool, right? But spirit is the divine source of all of this abundance, right? Wherever we are. And in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes said, gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence and is crowned in heaven with a consciousness of unity, right? We realize that it's all from that one source. Cicero had a great admiration for gratitude. And this is what he said. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtue, but the parent of all the other virtues, right? So gratitude is not just for what we see and what we've actually received, but it's for the unseen things that are happening under the surface or that are unfolding. It's for that seed that's germinating beneath the soil, or its equivalent in whatever it is in our experiences. And in the book Creative Mind and Success, Ernest Holmes has this to say: the reason we can make our requests known with thanksgiving is because we know from the beginning that we are to receive, and therefore we cannot help being thankful. Right? This grateful attitude to the Spirit puts us in very close touch with power and adds much to the reality of the thing that we're dealing with. So let us cultivate all the gratitude that we can. In gratitude, we will send our thoughts out into the world, and as it comes back, it will come laden with the fruits of the Spirit. Right? So when we do our prayers, we say God is all there is. We're one with God. We say our intention of what we want to realize, and then we give thanks, because there's no time or space in God, right? It's a perception. So when we give thanks, we're receiving it, and we release that to God to manifest. There's another quote from Ernest Holmes. How to Give a Treatment is a little pamphlet that he wrote. And one of his statements there is, claiming our gratitude for the blessings in our lives takes us from a place of lack into a place of abundance, right? So that shift occurs first in our minds and in our hearts, in our belief system. So if we keep saying, thank you for this, my perfect new car, and we still think we don't deserve it, we think it'll never happen, we think we'll never get that down payment or whatever is going to happen, as long as we believe in all of those barriers, that's what we'll get. But when we heal that sense of lack and shift to the abundance that is our natural state, and then that is what starts to manifest in our life. It's changing a whole pattern. It's, changing a habit. And so our mind keeps, it wants to go back to the old pattern, but we change it. If it does, it's like a meditation. You just bring it back, focus on what is the truth, and pretty soon that starts becoming your norm, and we really believe it, right? Now, Eckhart Tolle, I love this book too. I took a class on it a few years ago, and it was an amazing class. My book had notes all over it until I lost it on an airplane, so I have a new one. But one of the things that he says is acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. So we move from that gratitude to having more abundance. We let go of any sense of lack, and then we recognize that abundance that surrounds us. It puts us in the midst of the infinite divine flow, right? Rather than thinking, the flow's over here, and it's something for somebody else. No, we're right. When we get into that gratitude, we are in the middle of it. It is our experience and our true experience. It's that divine flow that comes from Spirit. The source is not outside of ourselves. It is part of who we are. And as we recognize that abundance around us, then there's something within us that responds and awakens, right? It resonates when we recognize that gratitude. Michael Bernard Beckwith has a fun way of saying it. He says, gratitude places you in the energy field of plenitude. Grow with gratitude and see how awe and joy make their home in you, right? So our level of consciousness manifests whatever we are experiencing. And as Rick also mentioned, to whom in the Bible, Jesus says, whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And as Rick said, that this sounds kind of unfair, but it's the way things work, right? So whatever you believe yourself to be, that's what you're going to experience. Is your consciousness of lack? Do you lack money? Do you lack love, relationships? Do you lack recognition? People don't appreciate you for all that you contribute. I mean, what kind of lack do you have in your life? And Eckhart Tolle takes it a little bit step further. He says that the people complaining that people do not treat them very well. Well, the fact is what he says, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. You are withholding it because you think you are small and that you have nothing to give, right? We're seeing ourselves in this as if this body, this limit of us, is all we are. And that's not true at all. We are part of spirit. It's like my thumb saying it's nothing. Well, my thumb is a part of me. It's a very integral part of me. It helps me to do all kinds of things, right? But it's not separate. It's part of me. And so we are a part of God. We're not all that God is, but everything that we are is a part of God, right? So Tolle recommends that you try this practice for a few weeks. Whatever you think people are withholding from you, switch it around and give it to them. So you're going to start that law of circulation going out. All right. So you're going to see that flow going out. And what happens is that flow circles back to you, right? You've started the flow. As long as you're seeing lack, that's what you're sending out. And that's what's going to come back to you. As long as you complain and stay in that mode, you'll keep getting more of the same. But when we shift to the gratitude, when we know that the truth of all people is that they are a part of spirit, then we can give to spirit. We can appreciate from spirit that truth that's coming to us. And so Tolle predicts that as soon as you start giving, you will start receiving. You cannot receive what you don't give. Right? The outflow determines the inflow. This is the law of circulation. And Jesus talked about it in the Bible. It's a universal law, right? The water doesn't flow as long as the dam is closed. So we have to open up the dam. And, it probably works the other way around too. If we give too much, like the CO2, when we burn fossil fuels, we will get global warming because we're overdoing it. We're not doing things in balance, right? So it's a law. Now, in the book of Luke 6:38, Jesus told his followers, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Now, the Rocco Errico, he has an article in the November Science of Mind magazine talking about the Bountiful Measure. And Errico, if you don't know who he is, he's a man that studied the translations from the Aramaic into interpreting the Bible. And so Aramaic is the language that the common people spoke at the time of Jesus, and probably a lot of his talks were given in Aramaic. And it's also important to understand the culture and some of the things that everybody knew, because you always knew, like, talking about 7-Eleven or whatever. Everyone knows what a 7-Eleven is now, but 2,000 years from now, maybe not. But so it's a common thing that people know about. So, and he also carried on the teachings of George Lamsa, who was the first one that really did a lot of interpretation of the Bible in it. And it's a lot of the basis for the New Thought principles. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, one of the things that was a cultural practice back at the time, when you bought things in the market, they didn't have the measures that we have. They didn't have a set yardstick at a certain length. An inch was the length of the king's thumb, right? So whatever length that king was, that's what it was. Or you could kind of guess it, but maybe not. Or maybe a yard. It's the distance from your nose to the tip of your fingers. It's, and this is really about half of your height for most people, not always. And if the person's tall or the person's short, it's going to be a different length, right? So if you're measuring dry goods, that's how they used to measure the dry goods. I don't know if you've been to the store and they do that, kind of pulling it out with a yarn or something like that. Now, also, when you bought wheat or grain, they used a wooden box. So it was and this is where it comes from, when it's pressed down, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So when the way that the process is so the merchant and the buyer, they would agree on the price for what was going to be for the box. And then the seller would spread a cloak of some sort on the ground, and they would pour out the grain from the big bushel bin. And then they would scoop it up with the box, and then they'd shake it and fluff it up, and it wasn't quite full. And so they'd put some more in there. And so they would, and so they'd press it down. And so it was really full. Right. And so, and as they did each one of these scoops, they would say a blessing. Right. So because it was a sacred act to sell and purchase grain, because this is the life of what sustenance that they had. And so the Near Eastern Semites, this was their practice. And so they also had pious language that went along with it. So the first scoop was blessings. And the second scoop meant from God, was measure 2. And then measure 3 and 4. So they had a whole litany that they would go through that was very sacred about this act that they were doing. Now, so what they were doing with these boxes then, so let's say if somebody had a box that was a little bit smaller, so they would kind of short the person that was buying it, right? So you wouldn't necessarily come back to that same vendor next time. You'd go find someone that had a bigger box, right? And then, but if it was too big, then the merchant would maybe have trouble making a profit, kind of thing. So you have to find that balance. It has to be fair to both sides. All right. And so but it emphasizes the joy of abundance, of generous sharing from a spiritual life, and of, it's the highest and best for both sides, right? Both people, and caring about each other. I know in engineering, we always thought that the very best clients was a repeat client. That meant that you did a good job and they came back, and you didn't have to spend nearly as much overhead time on marketing. It was more about, you had more money available to do a really good job again, and to make a profit and do those, pay all the salaries and all the things we had to do. So it's, and it's the same in relationships, so when we treat people with fairness, then that is how you have a healthy relationship. And when hiccups come up, people know that they can expect you to be treated fairly, and they, you get some slack. There's some give and take in a relationship that's healthy. But if you've got PTSD from all the things that have happened, then it's much harder to have that room to experiment and you just have a very controlled, I think there's something else on. Anyway, I think the sound needs to come down a little bit because I'm hearing some feedback on my mic. Thank you. Okay, so can you still hear me? Okay, can they hear me on Zoom, I hope? Okay, great. Okay, much better. So if we had this fair event happening, so our role is then to circulate this divine abundance, right? So it comes in, and so our role is God has to manifest through people, and so we are the arms and the legs and the voice and the hands of God, right? So and when we give, it's suggested that we want to give freely like the sun. Yeah, can you hear that again? Yeah. There. Yeah, it's getting worse. Okay, turn it down just a little bit more. Like the gain versus something like that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking while it's good. So anyway, so in Matthew 8:10, Jesus told his disciples, freely ye have received, freely give. Right. And so the sun shines out continuously without ever asking for anything back. Right. And so it's, that's what it does, is it gives. And so for us, it is about giving without having conditions about how it needs to come back to us. It will come back to us. Like it may not come back in the way that we expect it to, or we want it to, or that, I gave to Tom and it has to come back from Tom. Well, no, it will come back to us because it's all God and Tom's just a part of God. Right. So it's something that we have to be in that flow. And also when we give without conditions or expectations, it sets us both free. Right. It sets me, I'm not sitting there waiting, okay, going on, this has to be. No, I give it, I move on, I'm in the flow. And then the other person doesn't have to live up to my expectations, but they can use it, what is the highest and best for them. I can remember with my kids, one of the ways that I taught them to manage their budgets going is when we would go on vacation. They would want everything in every gift shop everywhere. We couldn't have gotten it all in the car, much less pay for it all. But so they had a budget. And so when they first saw the item that they said, well, is that what you want to spend? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So they would be very selective about what they purchased. Right. So they had the choice, and I didn't always like what they purchased. I would have, but they were happy with it. Right. And they learned from the experience of getting things that they loved 2 weeks later and things that they didn't. Right. So it was up to them. It was a good experience. So it's we, in our culture, so much of it is transactional. We say that, I'll do this if you do this for me. And we set it up that way. And it's not about giving when it's in that case. It's not about sharing of what we have. And it makes it more about what I'm going to get back, right? Well, that's not the sole purpose of giving, right? And so essentially, it comes down to trust. Being grateful is an act of trust, right? So we trust God as our infinite and reliable source. We know that God is always there for us. It's not this person or this job or any of these things. It is God as our source. And so we're supplied 360 degrees, up, down, sideways, and God always comes through. If a door gets closed, there's a window that's opened, kind of thing. God is always there for us. I'd like to share with you one of my favorite videos, and it's a song called Grateful, a love song to the world by Empty Hands Music, and which is oh, you know what? I skipped part of my talk, but let's see. We're running late, so maybe I don't need to say this. But you'll see in this video that it's, great gratitude is in advance is one of the most powerful forces in the world. And you will just see the sheer joy and power of gratitude, I think, when you saw when you see this video. So let's have Empty Hands Music and Grateful.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything is a gift. You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learned every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart aligned in purpose. Everything will feel gorgeous.
All that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all.
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am, all that I see,
Everything I hope and
all
everything I
that I
dream,
give,
everything I feel
and
and
all
everything I
that I'll
be. I
ever
look
be
deep down and feel all the
is a
blessings. Everything I am and
blessing. It's
everything I
so
see, everything I
amazing,
hope and everything I
and
dream,
I'm
everything I
grateful
feel and
for
everything I
it
be. I'm grateful
all.
for it all.
All
It's
that I
amazing.
am,
Everything I am and
all
everything I
that I
see,
see,
everything I hope and
all
everything I
that I
dream, everything I
give,
feel
and
and
all
everything I
that
be.
I'll
I
ever
look
be
deep down and feel all the
is a
blessings. Everything I
blessing.
am and
It's
everything
so
I see, everything I
amazing,
hope and everything I
and
dream,
I'm
everything I
grateful
feel and
for
everything I be.
it
I'm grateful
all.
for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
Wait, one more. This is for y'all.
All that I am, it's a blessing. It's so amazing, and I am grateful for it all.
flourish with abundant life, healthy air and water, plenty of food and affordable housing for all. How grateful I am for opportunities to explore, enjoy, and share life's treasures and beauty everywhere. How grateful I am for the abundant gifts that the divine source showers upon me every moment of every day. I want for nothing. I have freely and generously received, so I freely and generously share my good with my family, my spiritual community, and with people and activities as Spirit calls me to share. Life is so good. I let go and let God be the truth of my life. I think it, I know it, I feel it, I believe it, and I accept it right here and right now. And together we say, and so it is. And so now we have one more wonderful song from Callie.
About, is the microphone on? Okay. The other day, I guess it was the day before Thanksgiving, I came across a box of my mom's sweaters, and she died a couple. This is my second Thanksgiving without her, and I decided I was going to wear this cardigan that was her favorite cardigan, and I was with her when we bought it. It was special, and I found a lock, like one silver hair of hers, and I bawled and I bawled and I bawled. It just like boom. But then I was teaching in the afternoon, and I felt something in the pocket, and I found this beautiful gold leaf with this little jade on it, and that was definitely a silver lining, because it made me feel like it was just waiting for me to find this little thing to make me feel better. And so my song today is called Silver Lining. And she always used to sing this little song, find a little silver lining, and when we would go driving and she'd see a beautiful cloud. And so this is dedicated to my mom. It's by this artist called Tim Be Told. Here we go. Once there was a time I was safe and flying high above the land, but then the storm rolled in, ripped my wings and threw my dreams upon the sand. Oh, I was bruised and beat, and I fell 1,000 feet, and I cursed the sky because I didn't know that sometimes rain is good, and it comes down like it should, and it makes the thirsty trees and flowers grow. There's a little good in everything when anything goes wrong. There was a silver lining all along. Once I was a queen. There was nothing that I needed, not a thing. But then the soldiers fled. When the kingdom fell, the crown fell off my head. Well, sometimes things go wrong, and that road's a little long, and the rivers that we cross are far too wide. And sometimes change is good, and though we never thought we could, but there's always something better on the other side. There's a little good in everything when anything goes wrong. There was a silver lining all along. Well, I can keep you close. Can you stay here forever next to me? And sometimes people go, so we have to say goodbye and set them free. Sometimes people die, and they leave us wondering and asking why. Sometimes tears will fall, but it's not the end at all, because nothing ever really dies. There's a little good in everything when anything goes wrong. There was a silver lining. There was a silver lining. There was a silver lining all along.
Well, now is our prosperity time. And at the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee, we know that God is our infinite source. And as you prepare your offering today, we have optional envelopes you can use over here. And we'll have our baskets there. But so if you would please hold your offering and maybe your pledges, if you've been working on those, we have the pledge forms and the end of the year forms over there as well, available for you. So hold it over your heart and repeat with me our prosperity affirmation. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me, blessed and multiplied. So this is the time of year also when we hold our annual stewardship program to submit our partnership pledges for our 2022 donations, as well as our end of the year donations. And next week, we'll hear more details about this, our goals, what we would like to have. But, just wanted to give you an opportunity to start it. We didn't want to spend time this Sunday with everything else going on. But we want to thank you for helping us manifest our good to great vision. We're doing this together. It was the vision that came through all of us together. And God is now manifesting it through us. And so you can place those pledges and the offerings in the basket. And then we'll pass the basket while we sing our offertory song. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So as we bless these offerings, we know that they are from God, for God, coming through us as those hands and arms and voice of God. And as we serve as our spiritual center, embracing all and serving with love while awakening to the one, we know that we are about our Father's business. We are about expressing love and peace and joy and all of its wonder, for this is the truth of God and of it is all good, and so it is. Amen. Okay. So I want to welcome all of our guests that are here with us today, and the familiar faces as well. And so if you're not on our mailing list yet, you can sign up on our website or on, we have some welcome sheets here that you can fill out or sign it up in the chat. And for the people that were participated in last week's Thanksgiving potluck, I want to thank Nancy O'Neill and Penny Scholler, Marty Mosher, and so many people that were involved in that setup and cleanup, and Shirley and Don Nelson for the turkey. It was yummy. And, and each of you that prepared all that wonderful food that we got to share together. It was fantastic to be together. And I also want to thank Brenda Hildorn. We have a new printer in the office, which is now set up and working, which is really great because my printer ran out of ink. And so it's the only one that's working now. And our old one is going to find a new home through the computer core that we're going to donate it there. And maybe they can fix it, right? And someone could have a good home. but and there's also the good and bad news about our AV upgrade that, it's all done, but it was, Elliot wasn't able to be here to complete the installation and get it all set up. But one of the things that we did find out, which was some of the bad news, is that it's not really possible to reliably be on Zoom and be in the sanctuary and have someone who's like a remote speaker or a singer or something like that that's live at the same time. It's, if we had a big team of 10 people in the AV, but that would take our whole congregation. And I don't think that's the way we want to spend our Sunday morning, right? So anyway, so I think we're going to be switching to having Zoom for our meditation before service and the hospitality after service, but the service itself will be streamed to Facebook. And so that way we'll be able to start on time. One person can run it. It'll give us the good recordings, and you can chat away. You're not supposed to talk while I'm talking anyway. So you can chat away on the side and put in your comments as people do on Facebook live streaming. So it'll be something new, but I think it's going to be something. This is what most churches do anyway. So I think we can join the crowd and not reinvent the wheel. So look for that link when if you're going to be online, make sure that you go and look for that new link. We'll broadcast that link so people can get it. But now it is time for our announcements. And so it's my pleasure to welcome Reverend Rick.
Thank you. I know in the interest of time that I'll be kind of going rather quickly. So if you find that there is something that you would like more information on, please check out our website or the newsletter, where all the details are there as well. Our office is now open on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and other times by appointment. We are looking for a new administrator, so if you know someone who is qualified and might be interested, please let Reverend Pam know. Thank you. We do, of course, record everything that happens here, and you can find that on our webpage. We also have a new website that you see here, tahoecsl.org. That's a great place for more information. Here we go. Next Sunday, Reverend Pam will be here again. This is for our December theme is Journey of Becoming. And Reverend Pam will speak on the topic, Surrender is Action. Our musician will be Rod Loomis, and the practitioner of the day will be Shirley Clark. We will also be honoring all of our center's practitioners when we are back in the sanctuary again, where we all wear masks. Note that the meditation before the service and hospitality time after service will still be on Zoom, but the service itself will be live streamed on Facebook. The Csl Annual Convention is coming up in January. There's an opportunity to take advantage of the early registration rate, but the time is running out. End of the month, that changes over to a more full rate. It's at the Highest Regency in Indian Wells near the Palm Springs. Lots of good guest speakers, the CSL election and business meetings, and lots of spiritual practices and fellowship. I really do encourage you to take part in that. Moving on, please save the date for our holiday dinner at Donna Axton's home. She'll be hosting us once again on December 19th at 5 p.m. It is a potluck dinner with a white elephant gift exchange and lots of holiday cheer. After that, we have our candlelight service on the 23rd here in the sanctuary from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Donna Axton will be providing the music that night. And lastly, after taking a week off for Thanksgiving, our CSL drop-in classes with Zoom links will be resuming. And those links are in our Constant Contact newsletter. We still will be on a break with the Spiritual Living Circle, but Chris's Tai Chi class will be back on this Thursday, as well as the meditation that Mary McEnany and Penny Scholler provide. Sue's course, A Course of Love, continues on Friday, the 26th. And Reverend Pam, it's back to you.
So there's lots going on to support you. And if you need special support from prayer, our practitioners are here to support you. And so our practitioner of the day was Reverend Rick Carney. And we also have Shirley Clark is here and Nancy O'Neill. I think online I saw Carol Delbon. And so if you need prayer, please ask, and we would love to pray with you. And I'm also available as well. And we also want to welcome and bless our children in our children's program. And we know that this is one of the things that we're praying for that's unseen is this point. So when they're vaccinated and showing up, it's going to be happening. So, but we're blessing our children, knowing wherever they are now. And if you would repeat with me, we see you, we hear you, we love you. You are a gift from God. All right. So we're going to be closing with our affirmation and then our closing song. And so if you're online, you'll be able to unmute yourself afterwards and join in for the hospitality. And I think we've got a computer here. People can join and we can have a good time. So if you would all stand, I don't know if you can read that very well. Okay. So we have our slide, and I think we're going to be good from COVID and not make a circle and hold hands. Okay. So if you would repeat with me, I am grateful for everything I am, do, and have. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. All right. Thank you.